I just got done spraying the clear coat about 5 minutes ago, and I wanted to show you what that looks like. So this being the jambs, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to get little specks in it, right, because of the conditions, but anything that's bad, anything that looks terrible, you can always wet sand out and then buff it, you know? So, but I just wanted to show you how this came out. We did a double wet coat, and the reason I did that, kind of on the fly I made that decision. I started at the back with the C-pillar, which I wanted 2 coats on that, 2 really good coats, because that's the outside of the cab, and that will be buffed and polished. But the double wet coat, the reason that works here is because when you start at the back, like I did here, by the time you get to the front, that back is already setting up. You know, it's not dry. The clear takes longer to dry, but it's setting up where you can go right back over it and do what I call a flow coat, where you're painting your finish. So I'm just going to show you how this came out, and I'm going to show you the angle here so you can really get an idea how that came out. Right? There's my rocker. And there's my B pillar. Beautiful bodywork. You can't see anything. No seam. Beautiful. See a nice shine on this. Like that. All right. Get up nice and close. Look at that. Go to the C pillar. You can see the light in there. Look at that. Look at that. And that just came out just beautiful. Look at that. Like glass. You see any seam in there? You see any wave? Nah, she's beautiful. Look at that. So I gotta apologize. This is not the best lighting, but this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm working with. So you gotta make do. So I'll show you how that came out. Look at that. Look at that. She's beautiful. Nice. Rocker. Wow, I don't see any deflection in that at all. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad. Beautiful finish. Look at that. So there may be a few nibs here and there. That's fine. Just sand them out with 2000 grit and buff it. But look at how nice that came out. She's like a mirror. I am super happy. Super, super happy. There's the back of the cab. And we were worried about getting in behind the cab. Well, look at that. Look at that. That little drip there, that's actually primer. I don't care. I knew it was there, but you'll never see it because the bed's going to block it. So we'll leave it. But look at that. Look at the finish. See any bodywork there? That's a little nib. See that? That'll get sanded out. But you see any wave? Nah. Well, you can't spend your whole life tearing stuff apart. Eventually, you got to put stuff back together. So here we got her painted. We got the jambs painted. Got her out of the garage. Got her in the sun so she can cure, more or less. It's already dried to the touch, so. But came out really nice, I gotta say. Very, very happy. So as you can see, she came out beautiful. So there's our trim back rocker to get us some extra tire clearance. Oh, hey, nice cool yellow car. Wonder who owns that? So, look at that, beautiful. Beautiful. Cutaway rocker for big tires. Big tires. See how that came out, look at that. Beautiful. Come all the way up. Hinges. Oh, this is just so cool. And I don't know how this is going to come out looking into the blazing sun, but come down. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I'm extremely happy with how this came out. So there will be a couple of areas. Now, who would show you this? I don't know who would show you this. There's a run right there, just a little bit. In this area it came out, see, a little bit dry, just a little bit there. I may end up touching that up because we're going to be doing some striping on this vehicle, and I'm also going to be doing some custom stuff on the face of these not the door jambs, the rockers. So we're going to be putting additional clear on there, but I got something special lined up, which I'll show you coming up in the next videos. And as you can see, the bed is back on, so she looks like a truck again. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Guy's getting it back together. How about that? So I'm working on my right front fender, and what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be cutting the fender and altering it to get some clearance for the bigger tires. So what I'm doing here, as you can see, basically I'm cutting a wedge here. See that? And this distance here is about 1.25 inches. So I'm basically going to cut this wedge out, and then we're going to take this and we're going to push it back and weld it onto here, and that's going to get me a little more than 1 inch additional clearance for those bigger tires. So we'll be back when we got that tacked in place. Cool. I'm done cutting and welding on the driver's side fender, and as you can see, came out pretty darn nice. Got a few little holes there because a lot of this was tack weld, right? So still got a few little holes that I got to clean up, but so you could see she came out really nice. Even the bottom there, got a few little tack holes to finish up there. Got to clean this rust up. I'm going to treat it with Pour 15. So we saved this fender. Now, if you were going to do this to your fender and you weren't using fender flares like I am, which means this is all kind of irrelevant because it's going to be covered up, then really all you need to do is just finish that welding there. Just fill that in, and then 36 grit disc, then 80 grit, and you're done. I'm gonna pull back a little bit, and there you go. Not bad, huh? Kind of dark, you can't hardly see in there, but there you go. And our thickness is exactly the same at the bottom as the other one. And there you go. Ready to go on. Cool. Oh, look at this. Motion video. What action. There's the bottom of my fender. There's the seam sealer to seal that joint. So You may ask, Chris, why is it so sloppy? Because nobody's going to give a damn. Nobody's going to see it. So I lay it on. It'll protect that joint against rust. And this fender will last another 10 or 15 years. So we save it. We save some money. And now this baby's getting ready to go back on the truck, and which is great because I'm tired of taking shit apart. It's time to put it back together. So she's going to go from there to there very soon. Stay tuned. Originally, I wasn't going to use this clip, but then I realized it's actually a fantastic example to show you guys the performance of the paint that I'm using and why I'm using it. It's a two-stage urethane by PPG, and the technology of this paint is that it flows out. It's a high solid paint, but it flows out tremendously thin, and the coverage is insane. As you can see, one coat and that primer is gone. You can't see it anymore, which is fantastic. You don't have to pile tons of coats to get coverage. And the drying time factor is huge because I'm working in less than perfect conditions, and that's really the point of this video channel, to show how a regular guy could get fantastic results in their own garage. And this paint is fantastic for this purpose. It flashes over so quickly. As you can see, you see the shine going away already. You can see it starting to dull out. Where it ends up dulling out, that's dry. That's how quick that paint dries. So, you know, dust or bugs or gnats or anything else that could potentially fly into the paint, the chance of that happening is much less. So that's why I use this paint. I'll do a video later on explaining the science behind it and exactly why I use it and the benefits, but just wanted to show you this, how great this works. Well, here we are today, folks. We've made some progress. We got the doors on the passenger side. We got them on, and this is how I'm going to do it. After jamming it out, I decided I'm going to hang the doors, scuff and paint the black on the doors while they're on the truck. Just the base coat, lay out the striping, paint the striping, and then clear the whole darn thing. So that's the process. So you may want to ask, how did he get the doors back on all by himself? Well, that's a secret. I can't tell you everything. I mean, geez, you know, I mean, a man's got to have some secrets. Okay, here's the secret. I've got a hydraulic post jack. How about that, huh? Look at that. These doors weigh an estimated 50 tons, more or less. And there's no way you're doing this by yourself, especially if you don't want to scratch the living heck out of your newly painted jambs. So using this hydraulic post jack to lift the door very carefully, put it into position, tighten it, and close it. Makes it much easier, and hey, no hernia. How about that? We'll be back. We're back at it today, and what we're going to start on is paint prep. So I just wanted to show you this process of how I do this. And we're going to set the camera down there. And what I have on the door here is the top half of it is the original paint. And the bottom half I had to do some body work. There were some door dings, as you can see down there, and we did some filler. We did a little bit of body work, added some filler primer, and we blocked it out. So I blocked it out with 400 grit wet dry. I do it that way because it's easier to see the body work. It's easier to see your sanding. But now we're going to be wet sanding. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to show you the process. And what we're going to be using here is, this is 600 grit wet dry, okay? And this is an orbital sander for finishing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this whole door. I already went over it once, but I'm going to go over the whole panel. with this, and this is going to give me my final surface for painting. So I'm going to show you how that's done. And you can see the orange peel here. This is the cool thing about black. When you sand it, the parts that you missed, you can see they show up here. See that? So I'm gonna show you how this is done. Okay, first I'm gonna wet the panel down because the water helps flush the material away. Okay. Also, we're going to be doing is feathering the edge of this primer. So we're gonna smooth out that edge. So what you can use is a squeegee, but I use a soft sanding block like this. It's flexible. And you can use it as a squeegee. So you can squeegee off the water. Let that dry off a little bit, and let's take a look here. So you can see here, no dark spots. That's flat. So watch as this evaporates away. See what we got left. Okay, got a little bit edge on the edge right there. See, that's still shiny right there. Very little bit there. But this part is gone. This will probably do by hand because I don't want to cut through the edge there if I don't have to. So things like this, that was a scratch in the black, but we had a little primer over it and blocked it and went over it with the sander, and you can't feel it. That or that either. You can see them, but you can't feel them. So I'm going to do this part by hand. I'll be right back. Okay, so part of prep work for painting is masking. Stuff you want painted, stuff you don't want painted. And right now we're going to deal with these window track moldings. So there's three basic ways you can deal with these moldings. Okay, so the first one is tape. You can tape them off, right? So you can put tape on there and put it on and get it pretty darn close, right? Like yay. Okay, but here's what happens here. First of all, this isn't the greatest material in the whole world to mask. Masking tape, I mean, it'll stick, but it's not in love with sticking to rubber like this, so it's not terribly reliable. Number two, you know, you can try and get really close here, right, to your surface, to your painted surface. And down up here I purposely went too far, and down here I purposely went too far that way. And here's what happens. So when you're too far away, you're going to get paint on the rubber. It's going to look like crap, right? When you get too close, the paint is going to make a bridge onto the tape, and when you pull it off, when you pull it off, the paint can tear and come off and lift off with it and expose the base here. And that's where you swear a lot. You go in the house and you decide you don't want to do this anymore. So masking, no masking tape. No, not for this. Number two, you can take it off. I'm not doing that because I've been working on this truck for 3 months now, 3 months of weekends. And I'd like to drive it, you know, while I'm still relatively young. So pulling this off is way too much additional labor. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. So I came up with this trick years and years and years ago when I used to paint professionally, and it involves using some rubber tubing. So this is, I think it's 3/16. Yeah, I think it's 3/16, maybe 1/4 inch, but I think it's 3/16. Very soft plastic tubing. So what you do here is you pull this molding back like this, see? And you stick the tubing in there like this. And you run it up the channel. Gets a little tight in the corner here, but that's okay. Just pull it away. Push that tubing in and run it the length like that. There you go. This part here is covered by the mirror, so I'll trim that off, and then that'll give me the perfect length of tubing that I can duplicate on the other side. So then you press this tubing in, and there you go. So I already did it on this one, but you can see the beauty of this is it gives you all of this area to get your paper in there and sand so that the paint will stick. It'll have a good tooth to stick on. So it'll be literally impossible for it to delaminate, to flake off, because it's going to be all the way underneath this molding. So that's the best way to do it. There's no paint on here, which looks chintzy. It's like Earl Scheib. No offense, Earl Scheib, but I don't want it to look like a $99 paint job. So this is one of the things, attention to detail. You know, one of the first things people, you know, can look at if they're looking at a car that's been repainted is there any paint on the rubber? Is there any paint on the door handles? Any paint stuck on the trim because you didn't mask it good enough? That's crap. You know, you don't go through all this kind of work and kind of go half-assed. So you want to do a good job. So this is what you do. Stick the tubing in there. It makes a beautiful gap. You can sand in there. Paint will get in there nice and deep. And then when you're all done, you pull it out, and in about a day, that rubber will completely conform back to where it's supposed to be, and it looks perfect. That's how you do it. Next time on Project Monster Ram. It's time to go over the body with a fine-tooth comb and look for any defects that need to be corrected before final prep and paint day. Rear fender flares get a test fit, and the custom Ram paint stencil gets applied. Brotherhood of Dodge is more than cars, it's the trucks too, so help a brother out by liking, subscribing, and sharing this channel as many places as you possibly can, whether it's groups, forums, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. My goal is to get the word out to as many people as possible that when these trucks rust, they can be saved. And I'm going to show you how to do it by yourself in your own garage. Thanks for your help, and see you next time.